and thank you all for jumping on. We are just going to do a quick introduction of the leadership team. My name is Lynn Howard. I am the president. I'm usually based out of Bangkok. However, I am stateside for now and trying to make it back over. I'm just going to run through really quickly. We have Charlotte, who's our local photographer for the global chapter. Lauren, and Charlotte's in Thailand as well. We have Lauren, who is our philanthropist. How do you say it? It's way too early in the morning. Lauren, what do you do for us? Are you there still? And she's out of Mexico right now. So she helps with like social events and just really giving back to the community.
Philanthropic.
There we go. We have Agneta, who's in Sweden, and Agneta is secretary treasurer. Laura, who's out of Argentina, who helps with membership and new members. Zess, who is out of the Philippines, who is helping with social media. So we're really excited to have our team here to help us out. So we're going to dive right in, and please, ladies, I definitely want you to put into the chat if you have any questions. We have about a half hour for our panel, then we'll do some networking in some breakout rooms, and hopefully some other ladies will join us as well. First, I have Coach Tiffany, and Coach Tiffany is a digital nomad herself, and she's actually based in the US right now in Florida. She is a business and productivity coach for busy professional women transitioning into entrepreneurship with a goal of hitting 25+K a month in US dollars. She helps her clients overcome procrastination, visibility fears, fears of sales, money blocks, while building a business with intention, structure, and flow. She loves working with women who are ready to just shatter that glass ceiling and just turn on that money like a faucet. I love, she told me that yesterday, just turn on that money like a tap, like a faucet. So we have Coach Tiffany, and she definitely, please follow her on Instagram. She's very active all over Instagram with great tips and tricks. So definitely make sure that you get her Instagram handle. Tiffany, if you don't mind putting it into the chat. And then we have Dawn Owen, who is a business leader turned coach. She is out of the UK. I've known Dawn for years, and she's definitely a straight talking, life-changing, goal-oriented coach who will get you the results you deserve in life and in business. She's a master of productivity, time management, and she believes that life and business should be fun and never forgets to add shazzle to life wherever she is. She loves bubbles and she loves pink, and she's an amazing coach as well. And she also has a network of her own that she works with entrepreneurs to help them really grow themselves and their business and connect with the right people. Dawn is incredible. Dawn, please put your LinkedIn into the profile. I know you're extremely active on LinkedIn, so please make sure that you follow Dawn. So today is all about achieving goals, sustainable productivity, and prioritization. If you have any questions for the panelists, please put it into the chat. I'll do my best to keep the chat open and read that as well as we're going along. But just to save time, I'm going to dive right in so we have more time with our panelists. So I'm going to open it up to both of you ladies, and I'll start with Tiffany. I'll ask you, what made you get into being really goal oriented and focusing on productivity? Like, give a little bit of backstory. And Dawn, I'm going to come to you afterwards, just so our audience can get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, great question. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. So productivity for me was the word I was chasing when I was diagnosed with ADHD and generalized anxiety disorder, because I was in this place growing up where I had to work. I had to start working at 15. And at the same time, I had to do it in a way where I was still able to function. And so I learned everything I could about the word productivity, because learning how to set clear goals and learning how to schedule myself appropriately was a way for me to make progress and a way for me to avoid the anxiety and actually learn how to heal it while moving forward in the rest of my life. And I started reading books like The 4-Hour Work Week really early on, Tools of Titans. I'm a huge Tim Ferriss fan, and the list goes on. Fun fact about me, the Sixth love language is book recommendations. I love receiving and giving those. So if anyone at the end wants a book recommendation, I can have one for you.
We always love a good book recommendation. So please type that into the chat, your favorite book that you love. And Dawn, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Yeah, I think for me, coming from corporate and then working for myself, I was like, oh, this is great. No one telling me what to do. Don't have to be at my desk at 9. Don't have to carry on till 5 if I don't want to. And I found that I'm kind of sitting at the desk all day and not really getting a lot done. And so I started to investigate, what is this time management, if you will. And a bit like Coach Tiffany, read lots of books, share some of the love of those books that you've mentioned there, and started to really hone in on, okay, actually, I don't have to be sat at my desk for 8 hours. If I can get everything done in 2, then isn't that why I started working for myself? Then I can go do something else with that time. And I think that's a big mindset shift, to think that productivity and time management isn't getting sitting there and doing more in that 8 hours. If that's what you want to do, that's great. Maybe if you're in startup mode, you need to work that amount of time. But actually, most people that I meet start their own businesses because they want to have more time for themselves. And what they actually do is end up just working even more, sometimes 7 in the morning till 10 at night, for instance. And so getting the productivity and the time management down for me was great, because it allowed me to go and do all those other things that I really wanted to do. I think that's how I first got into it. And what I would say is, everything that we talk about today, it's still an ongoing thing. Sometimes I still have to check myself, because I find that I'm sat at the desk all day, maybe working through a to-do list, and it's just not happening. And I have to remind myself and pull myself back to the stuff that I know. So like anything, it's all a work in progress. You just have to keep reminding yourself what it is that you're working towards on that day.
I love that. And I love both of you. I don't know if the word came out of your mouth, but I definitely know Coach Tiffany, just like Coach Dawn, is all about mindset, and really helping others create the right mindset for the right reasons to accomplish the right thing. So let me focus the question around goals and mindset, and we'll start with goals first, and then we'll work our way into prioritization and into productivity. First of all, what does mindset have to do with goals? And then the second thing is like, how can mindset help you either achieve or hinder you from achieving those goals? And I'll go back to you, Tiffany.
So one quote I really love that when it comes to this is, we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. So it's really important to have goals, because you need something to reach towards. And when you don't know what the outcome looks like, you won't know when you achieve those goals, especially in entrepreneurship. I see what a lot of entrepreneurs do in the beginning of the year. They'll set the goal they have for themselves. Quarter 4 comes around, they're setting their goals for the next year, and they don't take a moment to enjoy and celebrate where they're already at. And that's a really important part of this habit loop we have, right? You want to make sure you're having those rewards and actually celebrating those moments. So with entrepreneurship, first you need the goals, because you need to know what you're working towards. When you don't have clear goals, you don't have a reference point to even be able to decide what a priority is. I see this all the time with entrepreneurs. They're trying to prioritize the to-do list rather than using the goals as a reference point and deciding what tactics to take and going there. Mindset is a huge part of this, because mindset is not just what we're consciously thinking every day, but subconsciously doing every day as well. And this is why so many entrepreneurs dive into mindset work, because they recognize that that voice inside of their head could actually be their biggest cheerleader and their coach, and the habits they have that they're doing automatically could also be contributing towards their success.
Absolutely. Thanks, Coach Tiffany. How about you, Dawn?
Yeah, I think, again, if I go back to when I first came into the world of personal development, if you like, and I'm looking around, everyone's setting goals, right? I must set a goal, and you write them down on a piece of paper. What I realize now, looking back, is those goals didn't mean anything to me. And I was just kind of setting goals based on looking around and seeing, what I should be doing. So people talk a lot about 6-figure business, and that's brilliant if that's what you want, or a 7 or an 8. Equally, if you only need to be earning $2,000 a month and that's what you want, then that's okay too. And I think this is where mindset plays into it all, because if you're just doing it for the sake of it, unlikely that you're going to get your goals. So writing things down on a piece of paper is just a teeny tiny part of the whole goal setting, phenomenon, if you will. So it's understanding, I think, what matters to you, why you're setting the goals, and what it is that you really want. Because if it's based on something that you think you should be having rather than what you really want, then again, you're unlikely to achieve it. And you can then dig down further into that to see, okay, what is it, what is the mindset that I need to have to be able to move forward with this goal? I think for me, it really is all about understanding what it is that you really want. It's got to matter to you, rather than just be, okay, this month I'm going to do $10,000 a month, another thing that's thrown around all the time. And if that's not your thing, then that's absolutely fine. Set the goal that matters to you, because if in reality you need a $2,000 a month, then you're going to be celebrating a lot sooner, rather than constantly beating yourself up because you've not achieved that $10,000 a month, when in actual fact, that's not what's really important to you. So you won't achieve that, and then you'll beat yourself up, and then you're back in that, it's back in a cycle. And Coach Tiffany talked about being in cycles there. And that's what happens, because, everything is cyclical. You have the rhythm of the universe, as I call it. For the up, there's a down, that's the way it goes. And you've got to work with those and understand those in yourself as well. And understanding what it is that you truly want is where it starts for me.
Absolutely. I love that you went there, because I'm going to put it back to you, Dawn. I know we talk a lot about, staying aligned with your goals, making sure that they are your goals. That's a huge thing. And so what are a couple of tips and tricks, or what's your go-to to help either yourself stay aligned with your goals once you figure out, okay, these are my goals, and you own them? They're yours, not somebody else's. How do you stay in alignment with that? And how do you know when you're still in alignment with them?
I think for me, it all starts with your values, understanding what your values are, because if you're not setting your goals aligned with your values, then again, you're going to be in trouble. So I think for me, before you even think about setting goals, it's like, do you understand what your values are? Your top 3 or top 5, if you like, and then setting the goals around those. Or if you find that your top values aren't going to be helpful to you in achieving your goals, then understanding how you can change those values. So for instance, I work with a lot of people who come to me, their business isn't doing what they want it to do. Okay, so you can read all the books, take all the courses, you're really good at what you do, but it's still not translating for you. When we actually dig into the goals that the values that they've got around business, money doesn't even appear there. So if money's not in your top 5 values, you're unlikely to, be attracting money and earning money, because it's just not important to you. So I think even before you're setting those goals, understanding what your values are, and understanding that if you want to, you can realign those to make sure that the things that are going to help you achieve your goals. Same with health and fitness. I had this myself, and understanding this for myself was the big light bulb for me with health and fitness. I love cake and burgers and all those things. Yeah, Charlotte, I can see you cheering there. That's what I love. However, when it comes to health and fitness, that's not going to help me. And I would always choose the burger over the salad every single time, because I wanted it to be important to choose a salad, but it wasn't. And so I had to figure out how to, for the time that I was, going on this health and fitness journey, how can I realign those values to give me the values that are going to help me and keep me on track with my goal. So for me, it's about kind of stripping it right back before we even set the goal and looking at what those values are. And there's lots of exercises around that can help you find out your values.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dawn. And Coach Tiffany, I'm going to bring it over to you, because I know we were just talking yesterday, and like having your clients hit that $10,000 day for the first time, and it was actually the day versus the month. And so I know that you've had to help a lot of your clients unlearn or quit like what they think that their goals should be in order to stay in alignment. So what are maybe just some of your go-tos to either for yourself or some of your lessons, or that you teach others?
Yeah, so before I mentioned that, goals are the reference point for prioritization. And really vision needs to be that reference point for what the goals are. And I use a system of reverse engineering goals, and I use a holistic system for vision. So before I set goals with the client, actually all clients that work with me one-on-one, they're required to go through my workshops first. And the first workshop they go through is the vision board creation and the goal setting, so they understand the process. And what this does is those goals become a little bit scary in the beginning when you're looking at the year view. So we break that down into quarters. And I really don't let people go through this process really without having myself there as a mindset coach, because if you realize that your goal is to have a family of 4 and this, big home, and to be able to have the option to put them through private school or have the option to do, the extracurricular activities. A lot of my clients are either moms who want that extra freedom so they can just purely have more time with their families, or they're moms that are going to be moms in the future, and they are really looking at building a legacy business so that they have something to pass on to their kids. And almost 9 times out of 10, my clients also have this relationship with money that they inherited from their subconscious, where it's not feeling worthy of money, not thinking it's possible to make a lot of money, or thinking you have to work really hard to make money. And these are some of the key mindset shifts I really work through in that goal setting, because you could make 10K in a day, you could make 40K in a day, and it's really the right mindset that allows you to achieve those goals. What matters is that you set the goals in a way that's not overwhelming and that doesn't feel impossible, and that you create a clear plan for yourself, that you realize, okay, if this is the minimum I do and I'm going to hit that goal, this seems really easy. And that's really a simple reframe within coaching, right? So how do we reframe that to what is the minimum I can do? I find the question a lot of entrepreneurs ask is, what is the maximum I can do to hit my goal? And so I love to flip that. Wait, no, if your goal is to get 2 new clients this month, what is the minimum you can do to get there? What are your clear KPIs? Because when you're focused on the minimum, you're more likely to get things done, you're excited about it, and you're able to get things done in a way where you can take a day or 2 off a week. Some of my clients end up 4xing their income working 3 days a week instead of 5. So when it comes to goal setting and staying on track, definitely what Dawn said, paying attention to your values and making sure you're in alignment, but also not ignoring your vision. Most dreams go to die in the cemetery, and that's something I don't let happen. If an entrepreneur I meet is about to give up or go back and get a job, or they think business just isn't for them, I really will go into a deep coaching conversation and challenge that. Because I believe when we're given a dream, we're given a vision, we're also given all the resources within us to make that happen. Sometimes we just need a little bit of support along the way.
Absolutely. And thanks, ladies. I think vision, values, and obviously I love reverse engineering is definitely a value. And regardless of you being on the call, I just want to clarify, if you're not an entrepreneur and the 10K seems huge or the 40K seems huge or whatnot, it is about starting where you need to start and then pushing yourself a little bit more at a time, like just pushing yourself out of the comfort zone. So please don't think that if you have never even visioned a $10,000 day or month, that this can apply to you as well, because it's the little steps that help you get to those big accomplishments, regardless of what they are. So thanks for leading us into prioritization and productivity. When you were talking, Coach Tiffany, I was like, okay, what comes first, the chicken or the egg, prioritization or productivity? So I am going to ask that question. So what do you think, what comes first? And, what the difference is, because maybe some people see it as the same thing, prioritization and productivity. And I'll come back to you, Coach Tiffany, and then back to you, Dawn.
So I really believe that just like the word success, the word productivity is something that should be custom and subjective for every person. So every person should take a moment, and if you're on this right now, I'd encourage you to do so. Think about, how do you define the word productivity? Something I teach them in my practice is however you define productivity is how you embody it, right? So if you think the productivity is getting all the things done or getting more done in less time, or if you associate it with being stressed or torched for energy at the end of the day, you're really going to embody that on a day-to-day basis. And you're going to come from a place of, I need to feel productive. So what's the maximum I can do to get there? And really, if you redefine that for yourself, productivity for me this week is completing A, B, and C, and knowing that these are the needle movers in what I'm doing right now. Then you can look at your schedule and create that way, and you have a reference point. Anything on your calendar or your to-do list for that week that's not directly contributing to those 3 goals, you get to decide if you need to delegate it, or if you need to delete it completely from the list, or if you can schedule it for another time, in full recognition that it might not be moving the needle forward for you. So there's this approach, and that's really the tactics, right? And maybe for someone who doesn't have their own business, same thing. You need to know what the goal is with your team that you're working on, or with your employer as well. What is the main goal we're going towards? What is my role? And what are the most important steps I need to be aware of to take in order to get there? And that becomes what prioritization is. I'm not a fan of to-do lists. This one is very controversial within productivity, and I'm fully aware of it. And I'll tell you why briefly. What I see with to-do lists is a lot of overwhelm and anxiety comes out of it. Because when you have a running list, your subconscious mind, your faithful servant says, I'm going to build this list for you. And it's going to work on that in the background all the time, which creates a lot of noise. This is why I hear right before bed, your mind is racing. You wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're adding to your list. First thing in the morning, you're overwhelmed because you have this list. I always recommend, you can have different lists broken down by goals, but I really recommend either doing the thing right then or putting it on the calendar so that you have enough time to get that thing done. And you can prioritize it against your goals that way.
I love that. Time blocking is huge, which I know you do talk a lot about, but also I think something that you said that you didn't touch with what you just said now is reverse engineering really helps you figure out that prioritization and those, like you said, the KPIs, the benchmarkers and different things. So I love that. How about you, Dawn?
Yeah, so for me, and I agree, Coach Tiffany, is very subjective. For me, productivity is when I've got action around my priorities. And that comes from that reverse engineering and breaking it down. Because I think when we talk about goals, sometimes we set them generally for a year. It's January, everyone's talking about, yay, my best year ever, going to set all these goals, and we all know come February, it's going to be some tumbleweed going around with all of that. And I think part of the issue with that is that, they're 12 months, they're a long time in the future. So we set this goal for the 12 months. What we need to do is be appropriate in the moment, if you will. So what do we do today that's about that 12-month goal? And that's where the reverse engineering and breaking it down, because when you know that, then you've just got that thing to do that day. And so that's your priority. Therefore, you're productive because you've done your most important thing. And doing that however your diary allows, but first of all, putting it in the diary, which Coach Tiffany mentioned. I'm a big fan of that. If it's not in my diary, it's not happening. So everything's in there, from walking the dog, going to the gym, clients, absolutely everything. If it's not in the diary, my friends say to me, is that in your diary? Because they know if it's not gone in the diary, unlikely it's going to be happening, even with my friends. So, but when you know what your priority is, you've got that goal, you've broken it down into those tiny little chunks. So every day, all I have to do is make 2 phone calls, or, do these 10 sit-ups, or whatever it is goal that you're working towards. And it's in your diary, and it becomes your priority. Because how many times, and I am guilty of this too, like I said, we're all a work in progress. Do we wake up, the first thing we do is maybe we look at the to-do list, or we look at social media or emails, when actually, if we just took that time and did what was the priority for that day, okay, what is the thing that I need to do today to work towards that big goal, then it's done. You'll feel amazing, you'll feel productive. And really what happens the rest of the day is not too important, because you've worked on that main priority. And there's, we get a bit of pushback from clients with this, because it's like, well, there is a lot of noise. We all know that. If it was as simple as just, so I'm a coach, if it was as simple as just coaching clients, then I'd have loads of free time. But it's not that simple. There's, all the things that goes around your business that people forget, like the marketing and the preparation and the writing of the workshops and all of that, plus the dog, the kids, the gym, the husband, the stuff, the watching of the trash TV, all of that stuff to go in as well. So when does that get done? So it does get done, but focusing on that first thing first, that priority, the thing you've identified, from reverse engineering your goal, that teeny tiny thing, just get that done, your first priority, or whenever your good time is. I'm best when I first wake up in the morning, so I know that I need to do whatever is my priority that day needs to be done first thing. If you're better later in the day, then you prioritize it then. But getting that action around your priority, to me, that then by default gives you your productivity.
Absolutely. We have about 7 minutes or so left. So I want to get into productivity a bit more because we've covered goals, we've covered prioritization, and we've covered a little bit about productivity. So I want to bring it back to you, Coach Dawn. How do you know if you are, and both of you said this, it is self-defined, but how can these ladies on the call or listening or talking about it later, how can we know if we are living in productivity? Like what are some simple ways for us to do a self check-in to say, okay, are we being productive, like truly for ourselves? Because I have this conversation with lots of people. Like I know I accomplish a lot, like I get a lot done in time, and so for me productivity seems to be fairly high, but I know I have to double check myself because I can get into that busy work and then you have to like realign yourself or redirect yourself or whatnot. So how can we all just kind of double check with ourselves and get ourselves back on track?
I think again for me is celebrating the fact that you have done that, so and forming a habit around it. I think habits, I think Coach Tiffany mentioned right at the beginning, that's what we are a series of habits really. And so if we can form those habits whereby we get up in the morning, we work on our top priority, then you are able to look back and see what you've accomplished. So I know Katie put in the chat, and Katie and I know each other, actually has a, I don't think she put a done list, but she put I think she put a must do list. So, what's on your done list at the end of the day? That's a great way to check in. So instead of, the to-do list, just, okay, what did I actually do today? Now, if you're sat there with your pen and it's one of those days where it's like, oh, well, I looked at videos on YouTube of baby goats, and then that led me to a makeup tutorial, and then that led me to something else, and that led me to something else. You're kind of going to get the feeling that you'll probably not had a productive day for you. Whereas if you can sit there and go, well, I made 2 calls, I designed that flyer that I needed to do, and and I kicked that email that I've been putting off for ages, and I dealt with that. Wow. Okay, well, I've been productive because there's the proof I've done the thing. So I think checking in at the end of the day about what have you done rather than, what's on the to-do list, if that's how you work, is a great way to check in with yourself and make sure that you're being productive on the things that you want to do. You'll soon know. We all, we might try to kid ourselves sometimes, but, you get that feeling in your pit of your stomach. And I'm able to list off those list of videos because obviously that's what happens to me sometimes, and I'm kind of like, oh yeah, that's not such a good day, so tomorrow I need to make sure I'm back on it and realign myself. But if you don't do that check-in, then how are you going to know? That's the thing. So for me, it is about doing that self-check-in. There's a lot of talk around, we talk about gratitude and those kind of things, and journaling, doing that at the end or the beginning of the day. If you can just add into that habit, right, let me just check in with what's on my done list today, then you will soon start to speed up your productivity.
Before I turn over to Coach Tiffany, I do need to ask you, Coach Dawn, like, okay, so you get down the baby goat video hole and then you feel like you're beating yourself up as a mindset. How, they do the gratitude at the end, they do that check-in, like how can someone essentially reset their mind tonight, like not sit in that, like beating themselves up, going down the baby goat hole?
Yeah, so everyone loves baby goats, right? So yeah,
especially the fainting ones, they're so cute.
Yeah, I think again for me, so the beating ourselves up, I know, maybe as women that is one of our traits that we can default to. I'm a way along from that now, because what I recognize is, it's happened. So you've watched the baby goats, so you can't take that time back. So you've just got to acknowledge it. So for me, anything that happens in the past, whether it was 5 minutes ago or 5 years ago, it's got to be, what is it that I can learn from that? So maybe that there are things that you can set on your internet that will stop you, for instance, going on YouTube between this time and this time. And that is how I broke the habit, to be fair. Because I can just set that, and we'd all like to think, well, surely we can just keep our hands off YouTube, but if we can't, we can't. Same with Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, whatever is your baby goats, then you can set things that will stop you from doing that. If you do it, you do it. You can't take it back. You've just got to own it. Okay, I did that. Recognize that you've done it. how do I learn from that going forward? Is it that I need to, like, if I can't self-regulate, is there a tool that I can use to regulate that? Obviously, then you've got to be motivated enough to actually switch that on. But the good thing, if you do use one of those tools, and there's, I can't bring the name of them to mind, but there's loads of them. There you go, someone's just put one in there. I believe there's also a setting that means you can't go in and change it. If you go like, to hell with it, I want to watch the baby goats, you know, there's a timer on it where you can't go back in. So I think that it's that reflection. It's knowing that what's in the past is the past, and that goes for anything. What is it that I can learn from that? So again, focusing yourself on the positive that you can bring out of it, rather than, you know, just sitting there and going, oh, well, I've just spent all day looking at YouTube videos. Fine, that's what I've done. Tomorrow I've got to work doubly hard. That, you know, that's my that you've done the crime, that's your time, if you like. However, what is it that you can learn from it? That's really, really important for me.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dawn. Okay, over to you, Coach Tiffany. Same question.
Yeah, so I want my answer to be a lot of little quick tips that hopefully the audience can use and take away today. Now, one of the biggest tools that'll make you more productive is feedback. And what's really important is that you take the time to reflect so you can get that feedback, because feedback is how we learn and it's how we adapt. A great way I like to give myself feedback on a week-to-week basis. One, I have my calendar system that I teach in my workshop, which is you have how you want the calendar to look for the week, but on a day-to-day basis, adjusting what actually happens. And I will add in the time if I procrastinate. I spend an hour procrastinating. If I end up on Amazon, I will add that in. And at the end of the week, I will tally, okay, why did I start shopping on Amazon this day? What was going on in my mind? Did I not give myself enough time to take a break? Did I work too long the day before? And the next week I will learn, okay, based on my behavior last week, I needed a break at about this day at this time. I'm just going to schedule that break for myself and see how I go. Maybe I take it, maybe I don't, but at least now the next week is adjusted in a way where I gave myself that time, because clearly I needed it the week before. Another simple tip that I use here is, if you do catch yourself scrolling or watching YouTube or whatever it is, and you're able to catch yourself and stop, looking at the day in quarters instead of as the whole day, instead of saying, I wasted the day today, you could say, okay, quarter one was bad. We're going to quarter two today. Quarter two is going to be a good part of the day. That's a really quick mindset reframe you can do. Something else I love to do are weekly reflections, and journaling is one way to do it. I prefer typing on my computer for tracking these sort of things. So I actually have a Google form doc that I'm happy to share with anyone here, by the way. I also give this away. And I ask myself these few questions every week. I say, what are you proud that you accomplished this week? Like, what actually got done? The next one is, what are your wins for the week? Like, what am I celebrating? What did not go well this week? What am I going to do better the next week? How many walks or workouts did you do this week? What was your sleep average? Because I track my sleep. And what did you do for fun this week? For me, this takes a really holistic view, because I remember a time when I was starting my business and working really hard. And if someone asked me, what did you do for fun? I would have said, what's that? I don't need that. And as we all learn, whether through conversations like this or we find out for ourselves, having fun and getting into flow state and being social will actually fuel your productivity in the workplace. So that's another reflection I do. And for this as well is I have holistic goals. So a lot of us are coaches. We've heard of the Wheel of Life exercise. If you haven't, I recommend just checking it out on Google. And when I break down my goals for the year, I break it down in terms of every area of life. So when I'm scheduling my goals for my business, I also do the same for all the personal areas. So productivity for me is also unplugging on time. Or if I say I'm going to stop working, I stop working, and keeping on track of the other goals, which is 5 workouts a week, which is 1 book a week, and staying on track for that, which is for my clients, you know, at least 1 date night a week, or having certain family game nights and being fully present during those times. Having multiple goals to work towards in different areas also will help us pull away from the work when we need to, while still feeling productive.
Awesome. So those are great tips. I love, I appreciate you coming on today. We went a little bit over with the panel, but there was such good information. Like, I can't believe we're already at the panel time, but we definitely want to leave room for networking. And because this is an IAW event, we do have to talk a little bit about IAW, ladies. So Coach Tiffany, Coach Dawn, we appreciate you. Please stay on. We are going to do it into the breakout rooms. Please connect with Coach Tiffany to get that. I love those questions, that check-in. I think that that's really important. Awesome. She put it into the chat. And please connect with both Coach Dawn and Coach Tiffany. They have so much information. They put a lot on social media again. And Dawn, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're the most active, I think, on LinkedIn, and Coach Tiffany is the most active on Instagram. So please make sure that you're connecting with them. Definitely. Yeah. Dawn, LinkedIn, right? Okay, excellent. All right. So just really quickly, a little bit of information about IAW Global, and then we will break out into breakout rooms. And this is where we get to know the ladies a little bit deeper. I don't know, Megan, if you want me to turn it over to you. Okay.
I can take it. All right. So before I talk about IW, I want to talk about one of the things we do at all these events is called the Share Your Ask. Katie's going to pop a link in the chat. It opens to a Google Doc where we ask you to share your contact information as well as an ask with this audience. Your contact information is important. That's our follow-up. So anyone who's on this call will get that list so we can all continue. I like to talk about sort of continued collaboration and staying in touch beyond. It's not just about this hour together, but the time we can spend after this as well. And then for the ask, you make an ask and then you support the asks, and we're able to do that to kind of help start those networking relationships and start supporting each other. The link is in the chat. You can open it now. You can submit it at any point today. And then those results will come out in a couple of days. Katie, you can go ahead. And so for those of you that are new to IAW, haven't been to one of our events before, we are a platform where women can connect, they support each other, they learn, and it's really no matter where you are in your own journey. So whether you're an entrepreneur or a career professional, we have benefits and resources and events that will support you. Katie, go ahead and advance the slide. I like to talk a lot about the power of community, and this is something that we're very big on at IAW. And the power of community being all the things we do to support each other, to come together. It can be very lonely, especially for our entrepreneurs, or if you're trying to climb the corporate ladder, it can be a very lonely place. And at IAW, we're here to bring you together and pair you up with like-minded people who are going through the same thing or have been through the same things and can help guide you now. So the community includes support, resources, lots of motivation, inspiration, guidance, empowerment, encouragement, celebration, and more. You can skip that one. We already did that. Oh, are they duplicated? So a little bit of information about how you can get more involved with IAW. We do have membership levels where you can join as an initiator, an innovator, or an influencer, and each level of membership offers a different experience. So if you're just starting out and just want to network, the initiator is a great place. The innovator adds on our mentorship platform as well as access to LinkedIn Learning, so you can really develop those skills and get to the next level. And then the influencer is where we promote you. We do a lot. You get a roadmap that takes you through the whole year that connects you with opportunities to be visible through our platforms. We do have a global membership as well that is tying you into this global chapter that will feature some additional promotion on social media and additional events that will roll out in the coming months.